Hi, and welcome back to Assessing Achievement with the ELL in mind. In the last video, we took our first in-depth look at an example of alternative assessment, which was using portfolios as assessment. In this video, we are going to take an in-depth look at using informal assessments in the content classroom. Informal assessment can be used for a variety of purposes. This can measure content area skills and comprehension. In other words, how much has the student grasped the content presented during a day's lesson? Informal assessment can measure language use. This should be focused and can be used to measure both fluency and accuracy. Informal assessment can be used to measure communication skills and how well a student is interacting with either a teacher or his or her peers. And finally, informal assessment can be used to measure behavior and attitudes towards the classroom environment and learning. Examples of informal assessment for ELLs include, but are not limited to, observations, checklists, interviews, and homework assignments. Let's take a close look at how we can use observation as a way to informally assess a student's understanding of content. In this example, we see a conversation between a teacher and a fourth grade student. The lesson of the day was about shapes and recognizing shapes. The teacher can simply ask the ELL, "What do you see in the picture here?" Assuming that the student is looking at a picture of a particular shape, the student might respond, "Shapes," or "shape." The teacher could then say, "Tell me more about the shapes that you see." The student would then reply, "Hexagon." In this way, the teacher can quickly observe whether or not the student has grasped the understanding of a hexagon based on their ability to correctly identify it. In this example, we are looking to quickly measure content comprehension, content vocabulary, and communication abilities. In this example, the student is not elaborating in complete sentences, but is still communicating to the teacher their understanding of the shapes. Our second example is the use of a checklist with a special focus on measuring classroom behaviors. This checklist is for a 10th grade student named Joe and in a social studies class. Remember that ELL students do not only have to learn content and language, but have to learn how to behave appropriately within the context of a new classroom. In this particular checklist, we can see two behaviors that should be observed. One is to participate in class discussion, and the other is to ask for assistance on an assignment. This particular student has shown this type of behavior multiple times, as is recorded here on the checklist. This is a great talking point to share with administration, parents, or other teachers to help the student really thrive in his new environment. The next type of informal assessment is an interview. Interviews can be used to really get a sense of a student's understanding of the content and for close observation of their use of language. This particular interview is for a language arts class in 9th grade. We see a set of questions here that the teacher might ask a student. What did you find most challenging about writing your own short story? How do you think you improved your writing during this assignment? What part of your short story is your favorite, and which part do you wish you had more time to work on? And which of the short stories that we read in class influenced your own writing or short story? Through the conversation, the teacher can observe how much of the content the student has comprehended and also observe their communication abilities in the language they are using to talk about their short story and about the content area. This also allows the teacher to observe the student reflecting on their own learning, which gives a better overall picture of the student's grasping of the content. And finally, we can use homework as a type of informal assessment. Our example here is from a 5th grade biology class, and the assignment is to draw, label, and define parts of a plant cell. This example focuses on content comprehension. Is the student able to identify the parts of a plant cell that were taught to him in class? It is also focused on content vocabulary and the language used to provide a definition. In these ways, and with these short, informal types of assessments, the teacher can better observe and understand the student's comprehension of the content and language development, and thus inform their planning for future lessons.